Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. At the end of each of our shows, we usually say something about producing 4 shows a week, etc., etc. But this is summer, and people have fun things to do other than playing games, so it doesn't always work out. We try to fill those spots with short games. This week has ended up being quite unusual in that we had 3 postponements. I had only 1 shorty prepared, and so this is the 3rd time this week that we'll be playing this scenario. Our scenario is entitled Intruders. It was written by Noah Lloyd and Matt Ryan and is available on their website, Reckoning of the Dead. This is, therefore, version 3. One of the more interesting aspects of this situation is to note how the story evolves from session to session. Things get added or changed, players react differently to various situations. So if you're thinking about GMing a game, watch these 3 versions and it'll give you some interesting insights into how those kind of changes work. Now, before we begin, let's introduce our players and their characters. Raymond, how about you go first? And you can unmute.
There's a good idea. We can always use the unmute. This is the first thing that we learn in gaming. Unmute at the appropriate time. I should be playing the part of Dr. Maxine Flambeau, who is a very petite young lady, pretty firm musculature, a little, just like me, flat-chested. And the other thing is she's a full-blooded Maori female, complete with body tattoos, head to toe, and thereby hangs a tale which will take far too long to tell. Where there isn't tattoos, the skin is a very dark olive due to her outdoor lifestyle. And pretty much she very often passes for a male figure because she will wear long pants, long sleeve shirts, lovely wide-brimmed hats, and generally loves to be mucking around in the dirt trying to find out what's going on as an archaeologist. She strongly believes that who you are is where you are, because you carry you wherever you go. And very much it's a case of I live in 3 worlds almost. I live in my French world, because I was an orphan and was adopted by French colonialists way back in the 1950s, just after I was born. I live much along and very strongly with my ancestral heritage as part of the Iwi, the people, the Maori people. And I've earned these tattoos over a long period of time. And thirdly, as a New Zealander, and have studied, and I'm a professor at the University of Otago, and I've just received a phone call that's proving to be very, very interesting, not only in all those 3 realms in terms of history, but what's going on in 1985. We've got the politics changing in Australia, which is causing the politics changing here in New Zealand, and the rise of the stronger powers of the iwi influence on the New Zealand government. And there's a little island that's just had a little bit of an addition that I'm really, really keen to dig into on so many levels.
Excellent. Morgan.
All right, I am playing Dr. Arthur Yates, who was born and raised in Melbourne, Australia, who went to school at the University of Melbourne and now teaches at the University of Melbourne. He's not very outgoing. He doesn't like to travel much, kind of a shy person, but the chance of a discovery of the potential discoveries here, yeah, there's just too creative an opportunity to pass up. So he decided to step out of his comfort zone and come check it out.
Cool. Josh?
I am playing Dr. Jeff Gunn. He is a somewhat failed geologist. He had his moments at his younger years after he just graduated from the University of Auckland. Now he lectures at the University of Otago. He is pretty much he relies on alcohol to get through, and he can't. And then he heard about this island and was like, you know what? I think it's about time we try and make a name for myself again. So basically, he just wants to be a bit greedy, and yeah.
Okay, Darren.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jason Green from the University of New South Wales. I'm a volcanologist, and I am taking this opportunity to go and see the new land on the island, Smith's Island.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's pretty much it, yeah.
Okay, and Zane.
Kia ora. Hello in Māori. I'm playing Alexander Xander Kovac. I was born in Washington Heights, New York, to a Kiwi father and a Latin American mother, Baxter and Rosa Kovac. I moved with my parents to New Zealand when I was 10. My father was a war photographer in the Vietnam War, and unfortunately he is currently in a coma. He was involved, he was one of the sailors on the Rainbow Warrior, which was bombed very recently by the French government of the Greenpeace ship when they were going to protest against the French doing nuclear tests in the Pacific. So he is currently in a coma. My mother is the leading professor of archaeology in Australia and New Zealand, and she is a tutor at University of Auckland. When they called to ask her to go on this particular thing, she obviously had to turn it down due to my father being in a coma. But when she found out that the position was being filled by a French woman, she was disgusted, obviously due to the fact of the bombing of the Rainbow Warrior. So she has sent me as the photographer to make sure the French government is not involved and keep an eye on the this young up-and-coming archaeologist that has been given her position since she was unable to take it. So, yeah.
Excellent. It sounds like the players are all ready. So without any further delay, let's begin our journey into the darkness. There is a small island in the South Pacific called Smith's Island, named for an Australian sea captain, Jacob Smith, who discovered it in 1806. The island is volcanic and covered in tropical rainforest, and it is thought that up until recently, no humans lived on the island prior to its discovery. There are no dangerous animals. In fact, the largest animal is the tiny Smith's parakeet. After Captain Smith came to the island, a small colony sprang up, but never really grew. The year is now 1985, and there are still only about 35 families, mostly Australians, Kiwis, and British expatriates, that permanently reside in the town of Smith's Landing. There are only a handful of businesses, Pete's General Store, where you can get supplies that have been brought in from the mainland. There's a pub called the Ruddy Hog that serves food and beverages and is the most common place to find locals hanging out during the day and the evening. And two small bungalow resorts for tourists that can accommodate only about 25 families each. It's a tiny island. 3 weeks ago, the island's small but active volcano erupted. Thanks to seismographs stationed around the island, no one was hurt. Lava was expelled and fortunately flowed in the opposite direction from the town. The only damage done in Smith's Landing was a few broken windows from the resulting sonic boom and the earthquake. Almost all of the tourists left at that time. The residents returned, and shortly thereafter, a group of hikers observed a large structure on the far side of the island, uncovered by a landslide. They estimated that it was about 300 meters up the far side of the volcano. They told this to the local authorities, who then contacted your respective universities. You arrived via seaplane from Tonga a few hours ago. You settled in your rooms at the Paradise Resort and have gathered at the Ruddy Hog to make your plans. What's your next move?
Well, I'm going to sashay in my full-blown long pants, long shirt, hat, and a very, very inky face, and stroll up to the barman and say, do you know how to make a virgin Maori princess.
Of course, sir. Why
Then
would
set her up.
So he makes you a virgin Maori princess.
I'm sitting
Which
at
is
one
a
of the tables.
non-alcoholic drink, by the way.
I'm sitting at one of the tables with a big Bowie knife and just doing the whole around my fingers.
Oh, really? You're doing
Yeah.
his nice table, huh? With your
Yeah. I'm bored.
I say, sir, don't do that to my table.
Pardon my friend over there. He's from Auckland.
Aren't we all? So what would you guys like to do? You guys need to plan your what you're going to do about what you're going to do while you're here. You just arrived a few hours ago, so you've all met up at the Ruddy Hog.
Well, judging from the topographical map that my university supplied it, I think that we should decide on whether we want to take the northern route or the southern route to reach the to the ruins. It's about a 2.5 hour hike one way, so whichever route we want, it's up to us to decide.
Okay. Xander pulls out a coin and he says, all right, Doc, heads north, tails south. Flips the coin. North.
North it is. Good.
Sounds good.
Looks like the southern route would be a little bit more of a vertical go, so north would be better.
Which would that north route also only cross one potential lava flow path that's recently occurred?
If what the data has been given to me is correct, then yes.
Well, and the lava flows have hardened, so there's not much danger of them
3 weeks.
collapsing.
Yeah.
But they're rough. I mean, you've probably seen lava flows, and at first glance, they look smooth, but they are in fact like pumice stone. They're razor sharp all over they're rough.
That would be
So the less lava flows we can cross, the better.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Has anybody got the time on them? I don't have a watch.
It's about 11 o'clock in the morning.
Well, my recommendation is after lunch, take a stroll out to the site using that northern path. Just take a quick scout around, take a look and see what the lay of the land is and everything else, so that we can come back with an idea of what additional equipment we may need, whether we need some folks to help carry some stuff out there if it's climbing gear involved. And then in the morning, we could go back by the other route, and that way we'll have circumnavigated both routes, and we can be sure of both getting in and getting out and working out how we want to camp out and resupply ourselves on an ongoing basis as we do our research. What do you think, gentlemen?
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea.
I think that's
as long
good.
as I can gather rocks, I'll be fine.
About that time, you notice somebody come into the pub. It's a rather tall gentleman. However, he's dressed like in Bermuda shorts with a Hawaiian-style shirt on. And he comes in, and you see him walk up to the bar and say something to the bartender, and then turn around as the bartender points over to where you are. He then immediately starts coming over towards you, and he's like, gentlemen, my name is Mayor Mason Keith. I am the one who sent to the university. Do you mind if I sit?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
of course.
please do.
He looks like he came right from the beach.
Certainly, take a seat. I am Dr. Maxine Flambeau.
Ah,
How do you do? And shake his hand.
he looks just a little puzzled for a moment, not realizing that you're a female. But and he's like, "Oh, I'm very glad to meet you." And he says, "We don't know well if we'll need an archaeologist, but if there is something up there, it'll be interesting to see. Nobody's gone out there since those German fellows, and I mean the people in this town don't really go hiking. It's just the tourists who do that, and most of them are gone right now."
Right. Now, did they see a structure for sure or something that looked like a structure?
Well, they didn't climb up to it. They weren't like prepared to do that kind of stuff. They wanted to go out there and see the lava flows, and they just said they noticed it up there. But I mean, I can't think of what else it could possibly be.
Yeah, but I mean, their report seems to suggest that it's more like a building than a pile of rocks, which might give the illusion of a building. Is that correct?
Well, that's what they said. They said it would look like a building.
Did they mention the color at all? Because it could just be basalt outcroppings.
Yeah, true.
Well, they didn't say what color it was. I have no idea.
Did they say its formation at all?
They said it looked like blocks.
Intriguing.
But from I'm an anthropologist, Dr. Yates here from Melbourne. But from my studies, the indigenous people around this area were migratory. They went from island to island. I'd be surprised if any of them had built anything that would have gotten buried. So I would be very surprised if it's actually a structure.
Well, I can't. I mean, from what we understand, there's never been anyone living on this island. There's nothing that could support anyone other than, for a couple of hours. You might get some fresh water here, but there's no game to hunt. As far as we know, there never was a game. Nobody's ever found an arrowhead or a spearhead or anything like that here.
What's the fishing like in the region?
Well, I mean, the fishing's fairly good. There's lots of tropical fish. There's sharks. But that's true of every island in Polynesia. So you've, I don't know. I think, it may be that some of them fished these waters. They do have a name for the island, or they had a name for the island. For the last 180 years, it's been Smith's Island. But I believe that the original name for the island was Kohatu Toka. And when he says that, Dr. Maxine, in Maori, that means like the cursed place. Now, it could be cursed because there's no food there. It's the waste of staying there.
And an active volcano.
Cursed rock is probably the closer.
Cursed rock.
Right. But those tourists, I think their names were Leo and Wolfgang Freitag. I think they're still on the island, though I'm not sure where they're staying. Probably at one of the resorts.
Well, it's a pretty small place, so we can certainly see if we can hunt them up at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
For tomorrow, Mayor, would there be any locals there who might be able to assist us with packing out some gear if we actually decide that it's worthwhile us staying out there to examine whatever may be there?
I don't know. I suppose you can try around the docks, but truth is, the people who actually live here are fairly well off. They're not like into heavy labor or anything like that. There might be a couple of employees at the Paradise or the other resort, and that might be willing. I don't know, for a price. We just don't have much in the way of that here.
Right. I take it there's very little chance you've actually having a mule or something around town somewhere, do you?
No, there's no large animals. No, we don't have any scooters or anything like that. As you can see, the town's so small, you can just walk to just about any house there is.
True enough.
Now, if you're looking for any kind of like lore of the island or anything like that, the oldest resident is Terry Timms, and he's easy enough to locate. He lives in the blue house. Everybody else has whitewashed houses. He has a blue house. He's a little bit one of the artsy sort of fellows that lives here.
At the word artsy, she kind of strokes around a few circles of tattoo. There's something for the crazy.
Well, gentlemen, if there's anything that you need, I am at your disposal. You'll probably find me down near the Paradise Resort on the beach somewhere.
Well, thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it. And I guess we'll check in with you on a daily basis, let you know how things are developing.
Great. All right.
Oh, just as a matter of interest, do you what is the closest thing you have to a medical center here?
That never came up.
Why? Do you think they were going to need one? Why are you being so pessimistic?
Well, I'm not being pessimistic. All I know is that when you're out and about, bumps, scratches, contusions, bumps, and things like that do happen. We're going out by a volcano. Somebody could get a severe burn. Plus, just the way it is.
If we run into obsidian, obsidian's very sharp, so we could hurt ourselves.
We do have a resident doctor living here. He's not technically practicing, but he's good enough if you were to get injured. His name's Dr. Lauren Monty.
So he's a vet.
He's here if somebody gets hurt, but we don't have really any facilities. So if there was bigger, we'd have to fly you over to. Well, Tonga's the biggest island.
Tonga, yeah.
So we're pretty much like an Australian flying doctor situation, but usually they'd have something like a nurse or something round possibly on the island who may have a defibrillator or something like that for the older folks or the heavier folks who need a little kickstart now and again.
Right.
Well, I hope you all brought good boots because the lava flows once crystallized can be very sharp.
So if that's all, gentlemen, I'll leave you to it.
And the gentleman bid you goodbye. So does the lady.
He's probably thinking, "Oh crap!" All right. So, anyways, he leaves the bar. You do notice him fill up his coconut drink at the bar and head out with his little straws and umbrellas on it. So now what would you like to do next?
Well, I think I'm pretty much set for whatever we may want to do after lunch, and seeing it's about 11:30, how about what time is sunset?
This time of year, well, this is the equator, or I guess it's lower than your figure. I don't know. Say 7 o'clock.
Yeah, you normally get,
It's summer. It's warm.
So let's go ahead and take off from here somewhere about 1:30. Take a stroll out there, gander around, maybe get a couple of shots and pictures, and then head on back after we can decide on that. In the meantime, I think I'm going to just go and have a little word with Terry Timms.
First off, I need to go to the bartender first.
Okay.
Well, hi.
Hi, what can I do for you?
Well, I'm a famous geologist. You might have heard of me. Jeff Gunn.
Famous geologist, Jeff Gunn. No, I never heard of you.
Damn. So, could you fill up my flask for me of your finest liquor?
My finest liquor. You haven't been in a bar before, have you? Do you have a preference? We got pretty much vodka, tequila.
I'll go your strongest whiskey.
My strongest whiskey.
Yeah.
Well, do you want a space side, or do you want a Scotch whiskey, or do you want a bourbon, or
bourbon?
Bourbon.
Yeah.
Let's see what I got over there. Any bourbon? I'm looking on my actual bar. It's right over there. All right, he gets you a nice bourbon, and he fills up your flask, and charges you for it. Of course, it's not like free on the house because you're a geologist.
I just pass him the money and then.
All right.
So while everybody else is having lunch, I want to go wander over to talk to the oldest resident at the Blue House, Terry. That was the name.
Terry Tim. So you're going to go with Maxine.
Yeah.
Okay. How about Xander and Darren? What are you guys doing?
It's Jason Green. Doctor.
Oh, you know what? I forgot to tell you, Darren, that you can change the name on your picture. If you right click, you can change it. You're right. I'm sorry, Jason. What are you guys doing?
There we go.
I'm keeping obviously a close eye on Dr. Maxine, so I'll be going along with them.
All right. Can we assume you're all going to go over and talk to the old
Terry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you wander outside. It's warm. It's humid, but you guys are dressed appropriately. So you head on down the street, and you can see it. It's a blue house. It's kind of a turquoise blue. It stands out like a sore thumb against all the other houses. And as you approach it, you notice that your best guess is that Terry spends a lot of time on the beach combing, picking up shells and rocks and pieces of polished glass and stuff like that. And then he brings those things home and he makes things out of them. He makes his mailbox is made out of seashells and stuff. He's got wreaths around all of his windows that are made out of seashells and rocks. And he takes junk and trash and he glues it all together and cements it all together. And one of the walls on his house is made out of beer bottles that have all been stacked up and cemented together and to be like on stained glass windows. So you knock on his door, unless you want to do something else.
Well, actually, I'm going to go into his front yard area, and I'm going to just squat down and just touch and look at all the lovely little rocks and what he's put together, and just kind of get a feel for the man as an artist.
And as she's doing that, I'm going to walk past her and go to the door.
Yeah, I sort of give her a weird look and then go,
well,
and then continue to the front door.
Dr. Maxine, why don't you do a psychology roll?
A psychology roll, which is not particularly good. That was actually rather not fortunate. I got an 06.
Very nice.
Which under psychology, I've only got a psychology of 10, so I hit it.
Wow. So
I don't know why. I'm just going with the sheet you gave me.
you get the impression that this guy is going to be a free spirit who does what he wants. You'd be incredibly surprised if he had shoes on. He collects things that he thinks are pretty, and then he puts them all together into things that he thinks are pretty, and he doesn't give a shit what anybody else feels. Hence, his house is bright blue instead of white like everybody else.
An independent man, just like me. Self-reliant and independent. Lovely.
So the others of you walk up to the door and you knock, and a couple seconds go by, and the door swings open, and this little man, he may have been taller in his youth, but he's probably in his late 70s. He's hunched over a bit. He's got a cane. He's got a fairly decent looking beard, and he's has no shirt on, and he has on shorts, and he is in fact barefoot. And he takes a look up at you, and he's like, "Yeah, what do you want?"
Can we tell if is he Caucasian?
Oh yeah. So everybody that you've seen here is Caucasian. The mayor's Caucasian, although a lot of them have obviously spent a lot of time in the sun.
Yeah, so
some of them have that. This guy has that leathery sort of skin.
Kia ora, mate. We're here from the universities. We're investigating the structure that was found up on the volcano there.
Oh, you're the scientist. Yeah, I heard about you people coming. Why don't you come on in?
Sure.
I don't
Thanks,
know
bro.
why I have a Southern accent, but I've got a Southern accent all of a sudden.
Sure. So yeah, walk on through. Take my shoes off at the door. Obviously, respect for his home.
Well, you find that the inside of his house has a lot of sand on the floor, so
As it should be.
I don't give a shit what you guys do.
And the non-French Maori looks at the professor there taking his shoes off and just rolls her eyes and steps right on in.
I'm not a professor.
Oh, you're the photographer, aren't you? Yeah, that's right.
I'm the adrenaline junkie photographer with a mohawk and a big scar down the side of his head.
So he sits you in, and he immediately brings out a pitcher full of iced tea and says, "Here, have some iced tea. What can I do for you?"
We just wanted to know if you know anything about the structure. But we understand you're the longest resident living here, so we guess you'd have the what's what on the history of this island and things.
Well, I don't know anything about the structure up there. Now, I heard that some German fellows thought they saw something up there. But I've been all over this island. I know this island like the back of my hand, and I don't know of any such thing that would be up there. At least there wasn't last time I was on that side of the island. He says, as to the history of the island, well, everybody knows that. I mean, Captain Jacob Smith found it in 1806 and started a little colony. And I've been living here for about 70 years.
So do you remember growing up, did any of like the old people at that time, did they talk about any of like the stories that people would tell about the island?
Oh, I don't know. Most of the stories that I heard as a kid probably, drifted over here from Australia or New Zealand or maybe England. But, not any more than any other like story. I think the Maori name for this island is something like the Cursed Rock, but people have been here 180 years and no curse.
Well, that's true. It may not be a curse, but did they know that when the captain, that Australian Captain Smith, got here? Was he looking for something other than just a plot of land?
He says, I doubt seriously that Captain, the good old captain, had any idea what the Maori language was. So, no, I don't think he even stopped here. I think that I read once that he found it in 1806, and it wasn't until about 20 years later that anybody decided to try and put a settlement here. No, I just think he wanted his name on it. I think he wanted his name on everything. Smith.
Well, that was pretty common in those days, wasn't it? And slowing around, finding a rock, getting a name to it. Well, go down a little footnote in history.
Smith Island, Smith Peak, Smith Parakeet, Smith Landing. Yeah.
Well, that's true enough. So who were the first settlers then? As it were, at least in 1826, thereabouts.
Well, probably Kiwis. Yeah, just people from the mainland.
From Tonga and Samoa and stuff. Yeah.
As soon as they could start getting people, as soon as they could start, establish a place where they could bring boats in to bring them supplies and stuff like that. We still don't produce anything here, so all of our supplies are brought in once a month via seaplane.
So you've been doing all that lovely artwork and wandering the beaches all these years?
Well, I have money. My family was rich, but I didn't want to go in for all that, the tea parties and the little sandwiches and all that bullshit. I just thought, I want to live in a nice place, and I think this is about the nicest place you can live. It's sunny and it's warm, and you can go swimming in the ocean, and everything is soft and gentle, and buy what I need from the general store, and I'm fine.
Right, so while all this is going on and the conversation is going on between all four of us, I'm going to take time to let my eyes wander around the room, see if there's anything notable, of curiosity value. Maybe get up and look at a few pieces if they're there.
Well, as far as curiosity, everything is curious. Only because he's spent a lot of time gluing seashells to things, and everything has seashells on it. There's obviously a picture of him as a younger man with his wife, and there's seashells all over all over the frame, and it nothing unusual or out of the ordinary, except
just glue seashells to things like it's a full-time job.
Like, yeah, the coffee table has seashells all over the top, and I guess he doesn't have anything else to do, so he just keeps busy doing what you'd call, primitive art.
Well, seeing you've been on the island this long, we're going out to where this place has been spotted. Which would you say was the better way of getting there?
You can look at the map here if you can.
Now I'm asking Terry here. He's a local. His feet have been on the ground. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I didn't see where the thing was, but if it's on the opposite side of the volcano, I'd take the north road. That's going to be the shorter way. You're gonna go along. You're gonna go along fairly close to the beach, about halfway there. Then you're going to start to rise up above the cliffs, and then the mountain's always going to be on your left-hand side.
That makes a lot of sense. Just as a matter of interest, could a boat go from this small port around the side of the island there and land on the beach? Be a shorter walk up there?
No, there's no beach over there.
There's no beach on that side.
The mountain goes right down into the water. You could get a look at it from the ocean.
I don't think we need to worry about it. I just was looking to see if there's somewhere we could land some gear and stuff and move it up to the site area if we needed to, a little bit easier from large haul.
If you ask me, I think those German fellows were just probably making it up or exaggerating. Nobody's gone out there to check. The mayor didn't want anybody going out there because it's too dangerous with the volcano and everything. I think
lava flow, right?
I think he's more concerned with sitting on the beach and drinking his drinks. But,
okay, but basically, I'm guessing as far as just following that path, the only real problem area is going to be where the lava flow is. Because I mean, up until then, presumably it was just a hiking trail.
Oh yeah, but there's been lava flows on this island before in the past, and
is there a hiking trail up to the peak though? I think there's only a hiking trail around it, so we still have to climb up to where the structure is. It's not a path.
No, there's no path going up to the peak.
We're going to be like rock climbing,
and it's not that steep.
Yeah,
I mean it'll be tough going, but it won't be that hard. You shouldn't have to need ropes or pitons or anything like that. But if you tried to get up to the peak from here, you wouldn't make it. I mean, it's all jungle. You'd have to go hacking your way through the whole thing all the way, and that's just not practical. So maybe the lava flows are a blessing in disguise. Makes it easier for you to get up because that whole side of the island got burned up by the lava and the
Good.
They say that the structure was unearthed during a landslide. How much land is actually broken off from the face of the mountain in that area?
I have no idea. I haven't gone up there.
No one's been up.
It wasn't much of a boom. It scared the shit out of everybody when it blasted.
Have you ever encountered any peculiar rocks at all? Anything out of the ordinary?
He looks around at his room.
I'm kind of hitting my flask at the same time.
He's like, no rocks, just shells and nothing really interesting.
Just
a damn island.
Well, with the currents and everything else around here, is anything kind of like unusual kind of washed up on the beach now and again? Sort of strange animal carcasses, that's kind of rotted away and nobody can figure out what it is, or,
People.
artifacts, little bits of detritus that just kind of come up. And when I say that, I actually pull out a shark's tooth pendant to show him.
Says, "Oh, shark's tooth. That's nice." Well, there was something rather unusual once. Really, really unusual and I want to say that you guys all see kind of a twinkle in his eye that washed up on the beach about 2 years ago. He says, it was a woman's leg.
How do you know it was a woman's leg?
I'll show you. And he goes over and he moves shit out of the way and moves this out. And he pulls out this woman's mannequin leg and sets it on the table. And of course, he's decorated it with seashells and stuff.
Did he turn it into a lamp?
No, but it's just a leg. And he laughs.
I spit out my alcohol.
He said, other than this, I don't know where this came from, but no, there's nothing weird here. He says,
Probably from the like hotel.
Is this your first time on the island or any island? And you're starting to notice that he still has that twinkle in his eye.
Yeah, I've been around a few islands.
He says, well, there's a little bird that's indigenous to this island called the Smith's parakeet. And what most people don't tell you is that they're carnivorous.
I knew it.
If you aren't careful, they will strip the flesh right off your body in a matter of minutes.
And then, deadly serious, I'll lean forward to him and say, I'll tell you, there's something even more dangerous on this island.
And what's that?
Australians.
The one-eyed trouser snake.
He says, look, I don't want to see your one-eyed trouser snake.
I ain't got one.
We're yet to confirm that.
You're a girl.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, ma'am. Here I am telling silly jokes and trying to scare you all. This is parakeet eats bugs. Don't worry about the parakeet. There's no parakeet that's going to eat your flesh.
Are you sure? I mean, Dr. Flambeau was very concerned about medical facilities.
Oh, well, there's not much in the way of medical facilities here either.
Yeah.
I call Dr. Monty, but that's about it. Anyway, is there anything else I can do for you?
No, it's been a pleasure and a joy, and we got a little bit of walking to do this afternoon.
All right. So he takes your glasses and he says goodbye to you, and you leave. What's next?
I reckon I'm going to go and talk to the track down these German hikers.
Yeah, we definitely need to do that. Definitely.
So yeah, I'm going to go to. I guess we'll start at the Paradise. That's the resort we're staying at. Might as well go there first and see if we can find them, and if not, we'll move along. And
well, let's say that you spend half an hour, and the problem is that the resorts, despite the fact that this is a small island, it is kind of like paradise. So a lot of the people that come and stay at these resorts are very wealthy, famous people. And so they are extremely reluctant to give you the location of anyone staying at their resort or whether they're even staying there. So you find it's kind of a dead end.
Can I do a persuade roll?
Yeah, I'll say you can try a persuade roll, but you're going to have to get a hard persuade.
Okay. That's a negative.
Okay. Yeah. There's probably nothing more you could learn from the Germans that you wouldn't just see for yourself once you walked around the other side of the island.
Okay.
All right, well, I'm strolling off from the others as we've been going around, and I'm going up to my room and packing up a little scout bag which is basically a belt and a few pouches with some doodads and bits and pieces in there. And I'm going to grab a sandwich somewhere. And when I see one or more of my fellow professors, suggest we gear up and start walking.
Okay.
It's a good idea. I think we should get the recce going.
Sorry, I'm answering somebody's question. All right. So you're going to head along the north path, and the north path goes out the side of the town, and it's a fairly narrow path, maybe only about 4 feet wide. The jungle right next to the path has been trimmed down somewhat, so it's not too high, but almost immediately becomes very dense jungle on either side. The sound of birds and insects sort of, is constant. And the trail is fairly easy. So after about an hour and a half or so, as you're walking along, you're rounding around the western end of the island. Everybody do a spot hidden.
That's a fail.
I got an 11.
Yeah, I got 15 out of 60.
74.
I
Must be
passed with a
something.
5 out of 10.
Wow.
I got a hard
Damn.
success with a 5, guys.
You only have a 10 spot hidden?
No, I have a 40. My bad. I got an
Okay.
extreme.
Okay.
I'm looking at I'm like, I don't know how it's possible. There we go. It's a 40.
So
Extreme.
as you guys are walking, because
Yeah, we both got extremes, yeah.
because the three of you who got extremes, you keep looking up at the volcano, because of course the volcano rises up on the left of you rather dramatically. At the moment, there is no smoke or anything coming out of the caldera, so it's probably it's been told you that you were told that it's stable.
Okay.
But as you're walking, you begin to notice something on the edge of the volcano, on the side of it, that's beginning to appear as you are going around the backside of the thing. And it does, in fact, look a little bit like a structure.
I guess at this point, as soon as we get there's something up there, I'm going to pause. I'm going to pull out a small pair of binoculars, 8x32. So whatever's up there is going to look a little 8 times closer. I'm just going to take a squint.
All right. Well, unfortunately, the ridge is still sort of blocking the view, but you're definitely coming into view of something that's up there. Now, the first thing that you notice, Maxine, is that the angle of the structure is not what you would call level. So if it is a structure, it's been knocked off kilter somehow. It is the same color as the volcano itself, and up that high, there's not much in the way of vegetation. There's a little vegetation, but not much. You'll know better as you come around the other side.
At this point, what I'll do is I'll look at Jeff's bleary eyes, take a sigh, and hand the binoculars to Xander. Tell me what you see up there.
How good is my zoom on my camera?
I don't know. It's good.
Okay, so I'm taking obviously snaps as soon as we saw it. So then he hands me the binocular, and I look up and I go, "It looks like it's been knocked over or something." And it's sort of like, it looks like almost. I mean, I'm not a scientist or a professor or anything, but to me it looks like almost it could be an entrance actually into the volcano.
No, it doesn't look like that. It more looks like something sticking out of the side of the volcano that's been uncovered, but
Yeah.
but it's not level. It's not sticking out like this. It's sticking out kind of like that.
Like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you mind pass me those binoculars, please?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, so I'm gonna look because there's obviously something up there. I'm trying to see if it matches any of like cultural things I would recognize from studying the cultures of the region.
There's
Like a
no
shrine or something.
Polynesian that would be making stuff out of stone unless they were carving it out of existing
Yeah.
rock.
So
it's really very out of place. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I'm going to take the binoculars back. Well, obviously we've got something up there, and it seems more building than just a funky rock outcropping. Could be in for a good afternoon. Let's proceed.
You'll know better as you move around the side. All right. So as you move, it comes more and more into view, and it's multi-angled. It's not just like a brick. It's definitely got what look at first like right angles in parts of it, but as you begin to move around, the shape as you're seeing it is kind of changing. Maybe there are no right angles. You're not quite sure, but it's definitely some sort of a structure from this distance. Now,
is it octagonal?
well, you can't really sell it. It's definitely got an odd shape, but part of it is buried in the side of the volcano, and part of it is sticking out. Dr. Gunn, as you look at it from this distance, it's pretty much the same color as the basalt of the volcano. Basalt of the volcano itself. Maybe a little bit darker. You begin to think there's a chance that it's not a structure, that it might in fact be some sort of rock outcropping that has a very strong crystalline structure, like halite crystals or something like that. It's enormous. You figure based on how far away it is, if you got up to it, it would be at least, like a 2-story building.
Yeah.
Dr. Green, as you're looking up at it, you begin to discern that there's some sort of thing sticking up out of the top of the middle of it, like a well, it's hard to tell. You'd like to say it's maybe like a tower, except that it's kind of lumpy. It's lumpy looking from where you are. And you're not exactly sure why. It could be a big boulder up on top of this structure, but there's something semi-regular about it. You're just too far away to really tell what this is. And by the way, you don't see any kind of doors or windows from here.
Well, I'm still thinking that it's probably a natural object, probably some form of crystalline lava, but we'd have to get closer to see.
If it is, it would be one of the most enormous inside that anybody had ever discovered. If it was a crystal, it would be enormous. All right. Now, as you continue to round the backside, you come to the first lava flow. And you can see that the lava flow leads almost all the way up to where the structure is. But the structure is a little bit on the other side of it. Right on the other side of the lava flow, you have bits and pieces of still living jungle and a lot of burned area. However, because the island is wet and it's humid and it rains all the time, the jungle didn't really catch on fire. It caught on fire where the lava was. But so you have a sharp, distinct edge between the lava flow and where the forest is. You could go up one of three ways. You could go up the lava flow, or you could go up through the jungle on the edge of the lava flow. Or there's also a large area where the volcano, there was a landslide that uncovered this thing. So there's scree going all the way up. Of course, going up scree is like taking 3 steps and going back 2, and taking 3 steps up and going but sliding back 2. It's very loose and easy to slide on.
Well, I think we should take the jungle so we won't have to, utilize the fine medical personnel on this island.
I think we should risk it and go up the lava flow.
Well, my question would be for the volcanologist. Is it safe to climb? I mean, it's 3 weeks old lava, but would there be any chance of us getting hurt by going up the lava flow?
The last seismographic data that we have suggests that it's been quite stable for a number of days. There's been no further tectonic activity at all, so we've got. I think it'd be safe. The one thing that might happen is if the lava flows have turned into lava tubes, and then we could possibly fall on through that. But I think it's very a slight chance. If we see down the path of the flow, for instance, there's no steam coming out of the ocean.
No.
Where it meets the ocean, where it meets the beach. So that to me says that there's that it's quite stable at this point.
The question for the GM, the most direct route, I'm guessing, is the lava flow, and then the jungle would be a slightly harder climb.
Yeah, it would be a harder climb, but you'd have more handy holds.
Okay.
I look at consider right on the edge. So you've got the lava flow on one foot, and you've got the jungle on the other. Then you're not.
Yeah.
You can circumnavigate any trees or.
Well, taking a look at the lava flow, how sharp and pointy and nasty is it just on the soles of the boots, which is a resource which we don't want to wear out, and how dense and the distance of jungle till it clears, I guess, the equivalent of the tree line up the volcano.
My guess is it'll take you about 40 minutes to climb up there. The lava looks, when you look at the lava, it's all in these round sort of, lava flowy looking sort of things. However, the surface texture of it is molten glass. So if you were to put your bare hand on it and scrape your hand, it would tear the flesh right off your hand. So it's sharp. It's rough.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what.
But stepping on it with your boot,
is
just going to crush the little needles, and it's not like going to destroy your shoes. It would eventually destroy your shoes, but not for a long time.
Looking at the group, how physically fit do they all look?
You're all pretty physically fit. You're not. None of you are old men. So.
Okay, good. And then I'm going to make the suggestion that we play it safe and go up the jungle part, and as you say, save our boots. There's a few more handholds and things like that, and yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm actually going to start heading. First of all, I'm going to take from where we are to the peak. I'm actually going to take a compass bearing.
Okay.
It's definitely going to be uphill, and I've certainly got the lava flow as a guide. But I'm just making a note in my little right in the rain pad, a couple of notes and quick scribbled sketch of the access point here. And I'm going to start going forward, and I'm going to be very much just moving the jungle aside, almost like a swimming fluid motion, stepping through the jungle with my.
And you're pretty much on the edge of the jungle, so yeah. Basically, you're heading almost due east up the volcano. The going is pretty good. I would like you all to do climb rolls and or dex rolls, whichever you've got better.
Oh no!
Well, I have a hard dex roll.
I failed with a 78.
I passed on a hard for dex.
Okay. I just want to know if you fail.
I failed.
I failed. I tripped over a branch.
Okay. So the three of you failed, which means that, your foot slips on something and you bring your hand down and your hand touches some of the lava and you get
I
scraped.
thought we were going up the jungle.
Well, you're kind of on the edge, but
Okay.
there's also bits and pieces. There's other things too. You got to watch
Yeah,
your
of course.
footing on rock. Anyways, you do 1 point of damage, 1 hit point of damage is all. Nothing terrible. After about 40 minutes, now as you approach this thing, the closer you get to it, the more it starts to look like possibly a natural formation. I assume you keep taking your binoculars out and getting a closer look. It's getting bigger. It's looming up. You're losing sight of the top of it as you are getting closer to it. You don't see any discernible block lines, in the structure. So it doesn't look like it's made out of blocks of rock. It looks mostly smooth. And I don't mean like glass. You can't see that close. But from your distance, it looks relatively smooth. After about 40 minutes, you sort of clear up the top of the ridge. And as you're coming over it, you get your first really close-up look of this structure. And it now, pronouncedly, it looks like a gigantic halite crystal that sort of has grown out of the side of this mountain. However, there seems to be some sort of a structure on top of it that sticks up. And now that you're closer, it almost has the shape of, you'd almost say that it's a spiral, and it's sticking up and twisting it around itself. And there are definitely what look like windows or something in it, although they're not regular and they're not square. They're oddly shaped openings that have multiple angles to it. I should also point out that none of these angles seem to be parallel to one another. They're all over the place. So although it sort of roughly looks maybe like a gigantic halite crystal, without actually being able to observe it like from the air or something to see the actual shape, you don't think that it's 30-degree angles. Some of them are 30, some of them are 50, some of them are different, and nothing seems to be level. They're all kind of at odd shapes and angles.
Is it kind of lattice-like?
No, it's a solid chunk, but multifaceted. You are still about 20 feet away from it. So what do you do? You can also, there's a place where you can sort of climb up a little bit higher and get on top of the structure, because the whole thing is jammed into the side of the mountain.
I'm taking photos, obviously.
And to assist in the photos, I'll get some idea of size. I'm going to walk up to the wall.
Okay.
So you've got somebody of a known height up against it, so you can gauge distances and heights.
Okay.
I'm going to go walk up to the top.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to follow too.
Okay. Dr. Flambeau, as you go up to this structure, you're getting ready to turn around so that Xander can take your picture. And I want you to do, let's see, you're an archaeologist. Do an archaeology roll.
59, and that's a regular pass.
Okay. You can't help but put your hand on the structure and feel its texture. Now, just at a glance, you're pretty sure it's basalt. It's not smooth. It's obviously rough from being, just weathering. However, there are no chisel marks of any kind. There are no seams. The texture is almost as if it had been cast or like poured into a mold. It gives you a very strange sort of observation about it. Dr. Gunn, as you're climbing up, you take a closer look at this substance that it's made out of. You're also pretty much convinced that it's basalt, except that the basalt that you see around you that comprises the volcano is relatively new basalt. It's the lava flow is obviously extremely new, but this volcano is only a few thousand years old at the most, popped up out of the ocean. The basalt of the structure, that's closer to something that you would see in like something like the Sierra Nevada batholith. It's millions and millions of years old. So there's a sharp distinction between the basalt of the structure and the stuff of the volcano itself. This did not come from the volcano. And I'd like you to do a sanity roll on that one.
Oh.
Because that's completely beyond imagination as far as you're concerned.
Yeah, that is a pass.
All right. Well, do at least 1 point of damage. You're visibly shaken by the revelation that.
Okay.
Dr. Gunn, are you all right?
Yeah, what's going on?
No, I'm fine. I'm fine.
You sure?
Well, if you pointed out to Dr. Green, he would notice exactly what you're talking about too.
I kind of, because I've been drinking a little bit, I'm kind of keep it to myself a bit for now.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
You need to take a break, Dr. Gunn?
No.
Feeling hot or something?
I kind of get out some of my, out of my bag, some of my geological tools, and I kind of want to examine it a bit closer.
I'm taking out my rock hammer as well. I want to take a sample if I can.
Okay. I'll get back to the two of you in a moment. Dr. Yates, you clear the top of the structure, and the top of the structure is not flat at all. There are multifaceted parts of it that stick up. The whole top of the surface is at an angle, maybe about 10 degrees, sticking out of the side of the mountain. There are some lumps, I guess you would call them, that stick up maybe 10 or 15 feet above that. And then there is this tower thing, and the tower looks like it's part of the structure, except that it's a visible spiral, and it goes up maybe 2 turns, and it's another 30 feet higher than everything around it. And there are, in the side of it, these, like I say, they almost look like windows, but they're just places in the crystal that form strange little holes. You also notice these on these bulges. They almost look like doors that you could go through to get inside. That's all you can see from where you are. You'd have to go over to them.
Okay. So I'm thinking at this point, this is like the weirdest natural structure I've ever seen, but since it might have some kind of maybe some ancient civilization or something at this point, with the tower just being so distinct, I'm gonna get closer. I want to study
It
that.
reminds you a little bit of pictures you've seen of Cappadocia, where there were limestone sort of pillars with people that had carved building structures inside of the pillars.
So I'm getting excited. This is an amazing find. I want to be the one who gets to find it, so I'm gonna head over there.
Yeah, and as I'm kind of moving my hand along, feeling up and down along there, how that's going, I want to see if I can actually get up into one of the windows and either pull myself up and look in, or just feel around to see if I can do it. And they're too high. Would I be able to have somebody like Xander give me a boost, because I'm fairly light, so that I can do that?
All right, we'll get back to that in a moment. Let's see. Dr. Green and Dr. Gunn, you decided you'd want to try to cut into this and break off some pieces, or with your picks. All right. Well, it has about the hardness. You test the hardness on the Mohs scale. It does seem to be what you'd expect from basalt.
Okay.
However, when you cut into it and you break pieces off, the area that was never exposed to oxygen, the inner part of the broken off piece, is brilliantly colored. It's as if there was a crystalline structure to it that, produces almost like a geode sort of effect with little crystals and a rainbow sort of in the light. It's beautiful, but not what you'd expect on the inside of the basalt. It should just be pretty much the same texture all the way through. Xander, what are you doing other than just photographing what everybody's doing?
Yeah, so I'm trying to get obviously the as much images from different angles and stuff, and using Maxine as sort of the markings of how big the structure is.
Okay.
I see Dr. Yates up on the top, and I think I might as well get some shots up there. So I follow on up to where Dr. Yates has gone onto the top.
Dr. Flambeau, you've walked over to one of the window-like structures, and it's just low enough. The first one is just low enough to where you can sort of get on your tiptoes or pull yourself up and look inside. And this spiral structure is definitely hollow. Reminds you kind of a seashell, except that the inside is angular, and you actually think that you could climb up the spiral or down, because it goes in both directions. But now that you're looking at it, it definitely looks like something lived here, like it's man-made, except that you don't see any chisel marks. It almost looks like these doors or windows were melted, or like the whole thing was cast in some sort of mold. It makes that's baffling. Or maybe there are blocks and they're just well hidden somehow, or the blocks on some of the structures in the Mayan culture and the Inca culture were so perfectly put together that you could can't put a razor blade in between them. But in this case, you don't see any edges.
Is this window large enough to actually crawl into?
Oh yeah. In fact, yeah, you could probably stand in this window if you want.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower myself down. I'm going to take out a small headlamp, elastic band, little walker's type light, turn it on to make sure I've got light when I get in there, put on a pair of gloves, and I'm going to try and haul myself up onto the window ledge.
Okay. Everybody else do spot hiddens.
I'm completely oblivious, 93.
I got a 100. I am just in total awe of the structure that I trip over something.
No. All I was really seeing is if you notice Dr. Flambeau going through the window. So if you notice her climbing up, hoisting herself up, and getting ready to go off on her own. If not, you're just engrossed in what you're looking at. Dr. Yates, you're actually standing in front of what looks like a doorway. Now it's leaning backwards. It's in this crystal, but it also has kind of a ramp going down and turning to the side in kind of a spiral. It's not flat and it's not level. It's at an odd angle, but it's definitely a passage downward into this structure. And there's, as I've said to the other ones, it looks like it's man-made, but except that there don't seem to be any seams, like it was melted into the rock. Or
have I gotten to Dr. Yates yet? Like, am I seeing that as well?
Yeah, you're walking up to him and you're seeing this. And this doorway is maybe 15 feet high, and once again, it's an odd, strange. It's a hole.
Mr. Kovac, have you seen this?
And I'm just taking photos.
Take a picture of it. Yeah.
Yeah, taking some photos and stuff. And I say, Flambeau's gone inside the spiral.
Well, she
Down
hasn't
there.
yet. You just see her climbing up right now.
Well, I've just seen Flambeau climb into one of the windows down there. Maybe you and I should go through this doorway and see if we can see anything.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm gonna pull out a flashlight that I brought in case we were here till it's night. Just a little one, nothing too big, but I'm gonna try to use a little light to guide my way down.
Yeah.
Okay. So Xander and Yates, you're going in the door passage, and Maxine, you're going in the window passage. Dr. Gunn and Dr. Green, what are you up to?
I kind of look at Dr. Flambeau as she's going into, and I shout, "Oi! I want to follow you too," and run towards her.
Okay.
Putting on gloves.
I'm still trying to make sense of the crystalline structure. I've got my piece of my chip there, and I've got the jeweler's glass, and I'm just trying to figure out why this is so strange.
It's highly reflective, and the crystals, they have an odd sort of cubic. I don't know exactly. Crystals have different shapes depending on how the atoms are aligned, but in this case, they're aligned cubically, and the color of the whole thing is kind of bluish. And when the light reflects on it, it's almost rainbow-like. It's highly reflective. But you hear Dr. Gunn yell, "Oi!" like this. And you see him running over towards Dr. Flambeau, who is climbing through one of the windows. You also can see Dr. Yates and Xander going through one of the doorways.
Okay. Then I'll take my sample and toss it in my pocket and grab out a light as well and go to follow them.
Okay.
While Dr. Gunn is running across.
Which one are you following? Sorry.
I've only seen Dr. Gunn go off, so I'll follow him.
Okay. Well, Dr. Gunn's heading towards where Maxine is. So, all right. We got Xander and Yates going one way, and we've got Maxine.
Fingers crossed we went the right way.
Hey, your coin flip turned out the first time, right? The
Yeah.
door. I'm feeling lucky.
Oh,
50-50.
All right.
This is gonna end up.
All right. Go ahead.
When I was looking at the flake, did I notice that the outside seemed sort of vitrified as compared to the inside, or like it had been superheated at some point?
Yeah, you're kind of thinking that, although the depth of the oxidation and stuff like that doesn't seem to go very deep. I should also point out that there is also on this structure scree and stuff like that from the landslide and stuff like
debris
that.
and
The ground's by no means clean. And it makes the difference between the old and the new basalt stand out once you know what you're looking at. All right, so let's go with Xander and Yates first. You step in, and there's quite a lot of debris that's sort of in this doorway. You go inside, and the passage itself slants downward. Probably at about a 15-degree angle. And it's not flat, and it's not regular. So as you're looking at it, imagine, if you will, you were in a hallway that was shaped not square, but let's say like a pentagon, like a pentagon, okay? And as you go, the floor is not level under your feet. It's slanted a little bit, but you can, put your hand against the wall to keep from losing your footing. And as the passage goes, it's also turning occasionally. The crystals change direction and go. So you're constantly moving from having one foot on the wall to it becoming the floor, and then the next one over becomes the next wall. So it's not only spiraling downward, but it's also turning. The passage is turning as it's going down. It's very disorienting. And there are a couple of moments in there when it reminds you of when you were a kid and you went to one of those mystery shacks where it looks like everybody's leaning sideways
Yeah.
because your brain's not able to process the strange angles. And you were heading down. Now you have flashlights, and this is going to also go for Dr. Flambeau as well. You're finding a similar thing. When you step through the window, you're finding this sort of spiral sort of passageway, part of it going up towards the top and part of it going down into the structure. So which way are you going, up or down?
Well, I'm guessing up would suggest that's where the others would come down from.
No, you aren't in the same area.
Oh, we're in a different area. Okay.
Right.
In that case, first of all, I would have measured out how far it is from the window to the inside floor.
Right. Just inches.
Oh, just inches.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm looking at the actual size of this particular tunnel. Is it sort of like designed for people who are 6 feet tall, 8 feet tall, 4 feet tall?
Well, it keeps changing, but I would say that it's at least 15 feet tall and maybe 15 feet across. But the floor and the ceiling are not parallel to one another. They're always at kind of an odd angle. So it does have the qualities of being both crystalline and that somebody carved or melted or somehow did part of this manually.
Right. Well, actually, I'm going to assist the other two up to the window because I don't know how agile they are. But my intention is to go down a short way, just to see where it goes, and then I'll probably go up because I know up is a finite distance.
Right. Okay. Well, what you discovered, both of you, all of you, is your flashlights. When your flashlights shine on the walls, if you are at the right angle, you get a very bright sort of flash back at you. The light seems to be directed right back at you. The crystalline structure in the walls, there's something in the substance of it that's highly reflective. So, Xander, you immediately notice you have a problem. And the problem is that when you take a picture with your flash, everything lights up. You get far too much light than what you actually want, and it probably wrecks the picture. Okay. All right, Dr. Yates and Xander, you are heading down. Now there's dirt and there's broken pieces of the screen, like I say, on the ground, but that becomes less and less as you go. And after a few minutes, this spiral opens up into what essentially is a room. The room is maybe 40 feet across, 40 feet wide, maybe 30 feet high. It's not a square room. The floor and the ceiling are not parallel. It's a chamber. We'll call it a chamber because it's more a chamber than anything else. And when you're kind of your passage comes out maybe 2 feet above the floor, what would be the floor, and as you shine your light down, you get almost blinded by all of these sparkly lights coming back at you, as if you were shining it down into a bunch of crystals. Okay.
Well, the first thing I will actually do is, being these walking headlights, I'm actually going to flick it from white light to red light.
Was Yates, wasn't it?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But he's going to see more or less the same thing as he's going. That's you, and that's Yates and Kovac.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn to Kovac. So, are there any other like offshoots off of this chamber that we can see right now?
Yes, there are. There are holes and there are passages going off, and there are things in what look like the ceiling going off in directions that you wouldn't be able to get to unless you had some sort of a ladder.
Okay. Did you say so that when we shone down, we got reflected back
right
where the floor should be?
There seem to be crystals all over the floor.
Okay.
That are reflecting the light back at you. It gives you the impression that you're looking into a gigantic geode.
Okay, so I'm going to say to Yates, I said, look, I'm not going to be able to take any photos. Well, at least I'm not going to be able to take any photos with the flash, which is pointless in here because there's no natural light. Because everything, it's just going to ruin the picture. I can't get any of this.
Is there something we could go back into town to try to help you with that? You think? Like the world needs to see this. This is amazing.
I agree, but I mean, it's just, I mean, would there be some sort of I guess, could I do like a night vision photo? You know?
How about a longer exposure?
Knowing how to do, it's possible if you were to set up a light in here and then do a long exposure.
Do you have like a lighter or something on you? Go back. I don't smoke, so I don't have anything like that.
Most likely it would be something that you would have to get some equipment.
I don't think I'd have what I would need for that. At the moment I've just got basically my maybe two cameras and a couple of lenses, switch in and out, but no, I don't have anything to do what we would need for here. Can I put my boot out to test the floor, where all the floor, crystal floor, to see if it's stable and
it's crunchy. You find that if you touch the crystals, they seem to give way pretty easily. Now you're close enough to them that you notice that they all seem to have the same sort of overall shape. They're cubes. And the light reflected back from them is a light sort of blue, which is odd. But we'll get back to you in a moment. All right.
Cool.
Dr. Flambeau and Dr. Gunn and Dr. Green, you are heading downwards, and the spiral turns maybe twice before it also opens up. And as it opens up, it opens into a very large room that is pretty much pitch black until you come up to it. And then you suddenly look over and you notice that there's a light maybe 30 or 40 feet away from you in this room. And there's sparkles of light. And that's when you suddenly hear Dr. Yates' voice echoing across the room. And you've actually come into the same chamber that Dr. Yates and Dr. Xander are. You're just about 30 feet away. You also see all the crystals laid out on the floor.
Well, if they're currently engrossed in that, and this is a nice little tube with lots of rocks and stuff like that, I'm going to let out a big, loud Maori yell and see if I can make them poop their pants.
All right. Okay, you do that, and everybody else, including the people who are with you, because they didn't expect you to do it, go ahead and do a sanity roll.
No, it's a fail.
Boy,
I got a 2.
I made it.
If you made it, you just jump. If you didn't make it, you let out a yelp in just sudden fear, and then you realize that it's Dr. Flambeau across from you that did that sound. And
Flambeau.
You're not really,
it was one of those
really
parakeets. Goodness.
Yeah, it's one of them Smith parakeets, I think. He went down that corridor there.
Yeah, they're probably the ones who carved all of this, right?
You bet. Yeah, them beaks are nasty, vicious little cutting tools, I tell you.
Dr. Flambeau, do a dex roll.
Okay, 25, and that is...
The landslide that he just caused. Got to jump out of the way of it.
And we all die before we see anything. Cave in.
That's a hard one. That's a hard success.
Hard success. You almost slip and fall into the chamber. But
giggles.
You catch yourself.
So I see him. I see her almost slip and fall in, and I go, Karma's a bitch.
All right, so you guys are both standing looking into this chamber, and you're seeing all these crystals on the ground. And Dr. Gunn,
Yes.
do a geology roll.
That is just a pass.
They have the color of sapphire.
Okay.
Although I don't believe that sapphire is a cubic crystal, but if these are sapphires, holy bananas, you know.
Yeah.
Now I should say that these cubes are all over the place and at different angles. They've obviously grown there. The largest ones that you're seeing are about the size of your fist.
Oh shit.
Okay. The smallest ones could be microscopic, but
Yeah.
So what do you guys do? Do you enter the chamber?
I'm gonna
Isn't it?
I'm gonna ask Dr. Gunn for a hit from his flask because this is very, very strange.
I passed him a flask.
Well, I'm gonna kind of nudge Xander, saying, I think you and I should go back and try to get something to take a picture of all this.
Okay, at this point, I'll give a little assist, if perhaps. I'm going to switch my headlamp from white light to the red light
Okay.
and see if that improves the ability for him to take a longer exposure without so much back sparkle.
Yeah, well, I'll give it a go.
Okay. Well,
Do you want me to do a photography roll?
You take a few photographs. Yeah, you do your photography roll. We'll see if they actually can turn out. Though you won't be able to know for sure until you.
I got a 51 out of 75. So yeah, I got some.
Yeah, you're going to get at least something that you can show as black and white photographs ultimately.
It's better than nothing.
But you're pretty sure that with the right equipment that you could get some spectacular.
Yeah,
pictures.
some really great ones. Yeah.
But it's at the moment it's not really worth the point of traveling back for 2.5 hours, and then
Yeah,
you can always
exactly.
do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I'm looking at this right now, and I'm curious. Is this some form of rock formation? I can't find anything that's suggestive of a construct idea by here at all. I don't know. Maybe walking up to the roof where that funky, lumpy tower was might be a good idea via the, for want of a better term, stairway.
Well, I'm not sure. All I can tell you is that there seems to be sapphires around.
As in, this is deposits of sapphire. I mean, I don't know nothing much about rocks and that. Is sapphire a big lump, or is it lots of little crystals that you can just pick up and make money with?
I'm pretty sure it's lots of little crystals.
Now, is the outside of this made of sapphire too? I don't know anything about rocks.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I'm kind of asking Dr. Gunn if the outside is also made out of sapphires.
Is it? No, it's not.
These look quite distinct from anything that you've seen so far.
Okay.
Everybody do a spot hidden and tell me the level that you get.
I failed.
I got 55 out of 40.
05.
Exactly 60 out of 60.
So I rolled a 5, and that would be
That's really good. Yeah.
Oh yeah, my extreme is 12. So yeah, that's good.
So Dr. Green, as you're standing there and you're looking down at these crystals, you notice something amongst the crystals that is not shiny and reflective. And you sort of hunker down to get a better look at it. And is it a stick? Is it a tree limb? Or it's small. Is it a bone? It looks like a bone.
How
A fairly
big?
substantial one.
Like a femur?
Like an arm bone. Maybe from a large animal, but Could it be human?
Guys, come take a look at this. And I pick up the bone and I hand it to the anthropologist and say, "This should be your area. What do you think of this? This is a bone, is it not?"
Looks like it might be an arm bone from a fairly small human, not a large human, but
Like a child?
or a young adult.
Yeah, this looks human.
May I take a look?
Yeah, of course. You know how old it is?
I'm not sure. And I'm going to open up a loop, and I'm kind of looking at the bone anthropologically wise. I'm not got much of a clue, but I'm wondering if there's anything being fashioned into, perhaps it was some kind of tool.
No, it looks just like an arm bone. It's fairly dense. It's pretty. It's very old.
Is it brittle?
I don't know what that would mean either way, one way or the other. But we'll say it's brittle.
Well, I'll hold it across my chest, so there's some idea that, and maybe along the top of my own arm. Take a photograph of this.
Okay, take a photo.
Rotate it around so we've got a couple of different angles and everything else on the bone.
Yeah.
I'll hand it to the anthropologist. Now, I recommend that we take this back to town for further study and some kind of analysis that we might be able to do later.
I'll look for more bones.
All right, Dr. Green, you start to look for more bones. You probably all start to look around to see if you find anything else like that. Everybody do spot hiddens again.
I pass.
Ooh, I got a 2.
16.
I got a 60 out of 70.
Okay.
30 out of 60, just on the edge of a hard.
Okay. Those of you who passed, as you're looking around, you begin to notice that there are other bones. You notice what might be a rib bone here, or a bit of spine, a backbone there.
Any large bones like a scapula or?
Maybe, as you're looking through, the crystals seem to have grown up and around these things, a lot of them. Dr. Gunn, you got a really good roll. You reach down and you pick up, you sort of brush some of the crystals off of it, and it is a skull. All of these bones look very old. They've got an almost dark brown, as if they've been there for a long, long time. But Dr. Gunn, there's something wrong with the skull. It's smaller than what you'd expect, because maybe maybe it is a child or an adolescent or something like that. What do you do with it?
I want to show it to Dr. Yates, see what he makes of it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Dr. Yates.
Walk over there and what the heck?
Dr. Yates, you hold this bone, this skull in your hand, and why don't you do an anthropology roll?
All right. I pass with a 39 out of 70.
Okay.
So not hard, just regular.
All of you have various bones, and you're looking over at Dr. Yates, and Dr. Yates just turns white, and he shakes just a little bit all over as he's holding this skull. Because, Dr. Yates, what you are looking at is the skull, not of a Homo sapien, but perhaps Homo habilis. It's at least 1.5 to 2.5 million years old.
Kind of just dazed. This is. I don't even know. This is old.
This is
This is before, this isn't even human. This is so old.
And it's not fossilized.
It's almost Australopithecus, but it's.
And it's not fossilized.
This is before modern man, before Cro-Magnon man.
Mm-hmm.
This is impossible. This can't be here.
Yeah, why is it in such a state?
Doing here.
I can just hold it, just pale and shaking it. I don't really know what to do with it.
Why don't you do a sanity roll just
All
for
right, that's fair.
the shock of finding it?
And I pass.
Just one.
One. Oh.
You realize too that there are other bones throughout this room.
Are they? I'm going to go try to look at them to see if they're different people.
They're all Homo habilis, in your opinion.
I notice obviously all the bones, and I say to Dr. Yates, I say, I mean, do you think this is some sort of tomb or burial ground or something? There's a lot of bones here, like bodies,
But
you reckon some people lived in these caves?
Well, culturally, this would be an odd place to put bodies so close to the entrances that we came in. Like, this is the first room we entered. Why would they bury anyone in here?
What if they were caved in?
But not only
And they
that,
got stuck?
I didn't notice any cave-ins. It all seems fine. And
Well,
there was
keep in
a
mind
shower.
this whole place was covered. This was all. This whole place was revealed after the landslide from the volcano.
If this was Homo habilis, or any of the Homo lines other than Homo sapien, these should be fossilized. These should be buried in rock, surrounding rock. This is, like, from a geological perspective, I just can't understand this. This should not be. This is not right.
Now, Dr. Green, you study volcanoes, right?
Yes.
So, would these because this is so oddly shaped, is this be formed from volcanic activity, do you think?
No. This is completely unusual. It's very, very hard to understand. This flies in the face of everything I've studied for decades. It's not possible, but yet here it is. As an anthropologist, like, that these precursors for humans are millions of years old.
Yes, this is...
And these crystals, there's on the outside, and I reach into my pocket and take out my sample, and I show him. Now, the outside of this fleck sample that I took off the outside structure, this is what it looks like from the outside. You can see the oxidation of these crystals. This is what it looks like on the outside. Now look, on the inside, it's what we see here. This just does not, it doesn't make any sense from anything that I've ever seen from a geological perspective. And Dr. Gunn, I think he's right in the same boat as I am here. This doesn't make any sense.
And so there are multiple, and there are multiple bodies here, right? This isn't like just one skeleton spread across. This is like multiple skulls, multiple spines type of.
Yeah, correct. And for those of you who are still now looking around, you can go ahead and do a spot hidden. I'll assume that the two of you were talking. So
yeah.
I fail.
Spot hidden.
I got
lovely. I
got
have
a
an
7.
extreme for a change. Yay.
Xander, what did you say, Xander? Did you pass?
Yeah, passed.
Okay. The two of you that passed, you also find a number of what look like stone tools made out of obsidian. Perhaps weapons, although they're just hand things. There's no wood or any evidence that they were attached to anything.
I call it Dr. Yates to have a look.
And I go over there and, well, I suppose these people who came in here, they came in with these tools. They don't look like carving implements. It feels like that they just found this place and died down here.
The problem
some of these look like weapons.
The problems that run through all of your minds are there is no way that Homo habilis could have carved this structure out. They had no tools that could carve rock like that. It indicates a level of sophistication that would be well beyond anything that they could. This is all the beginning of the Stone Age. You know, people wouldn't start building structures for another 3.5 million years. Or, well,
I'd like to take a closer look at the various implements and gauging for the difference in size between these ancient humans and our current environment, and just looking and seeing what they were. Does it look like there was a group of individuals in here? And if so, how large a group?
it's difficult to tell with the crystals growing all over it.
So the crystals are actually growing on the bones, or
No, they're growing around them. So somehow they've managed to stay intact. There's a lot of things here that don't make any sense. I suppose you can all do a sanity roll. Because,
Yeah. Did you happen to see my private message to you?
oh, I'm sorry.
Ooh, I failed.
Yeah, I failed too.
It doesn't make
I
any
failed as well.
I passed.
Sorry, what was that, Tom?
it doesn't make any sense for that yet,
Okay.
but maybe soon.
Yeah, it's good. Okay, I 29, so that's a good solid pass.
32 for me.
I failed.
I got a 75 out of 40.
Okay. If you failed, you can take one more point of sanity damage. Otherwise,
Okay.
you're okay. You're shaken, but you're probably starting to think, one, you're going to be famous for this discovery.
We'll all
Two, you could pocket some of those crystals, and if they are sapphire, you're going to be fabulously wealthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering about that mayor too. He didn't have anybody coming round here, but I don't think he's been digging because I don't see any evidence of that, at least in the one room that we've looked at. I think what I'd like to do is I'm going to switch on the white light again and hold it actually on the, as it were, the ground where these things are growing, this crystal growing, and actually peer down in and see if there's anything else down there
Okay.
Like,
that I
maybe
could
underneath the
possibly
bones?
spot.
The crystals are fairly clear. Like I say, they've got a bluish tint to them. You can see the floor, and it's only maybe 6 or 7 inches down.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, nothing looks that unusual. You do, however, notice when you switched your light back on that there may be a number of large crystals on the other side of the room that look fairly large. Like a couple of these sapphire crystals might be as much as 10 feet high.
Wow.
You didn't notice it from where you are when your light flashed on it. You got a big flash, an odd shape.
Let's go over and take a closer look. And I'm also going to take one of those ancient tools and just see if any of these are like prying items.
What they look like is cutting items. They're made out of obsidian, and they're rounded on one side, and they're sharp.
Mm-hmm.
They've been, flint. They've been chipped.
Right. So we're looking at probably skinning game, slicing game, that
Yeah. kind of thing. All right. So you begin to work your way around to the other side of the room, and of course, in the process, you're breaking off some of these crystals, which is to be expected. The bones seem to be fairly close to the entrances that you came in. You don't see much in the way of bones, and in fact, the floor, there's less and less crystals as you're getting towards what look like a number of enormous crystals, but they're visibly flat and against the walls. And the closer you get, the more that you realize that it's like these large, oddly shaped crystals have been embedded in the wall itself. And one facet, a big flat facet, is sticking out, and that's what's reflecting so much light. But these are around 10 feet tall, and they're maybe 5 or 6 feet across. And they're not spaced regularly, but there are maybe 3 of them that you see sticking out of the wall like this. As you approach them, they are highly reflective, like almost everything in here is. And they are acting pretty much as mirrors. So you see yourselves approaching, out of the darkness as you get closer to it. And as long as you're kind of shining your light downward, you're not getting blinded by the reflection. So I assume you're all approaching. Everybody do a spot hidden roll.
So
lots of spot hidden rolls. Spot hidden.
I got 17 out of 40.
I failed with a 49 out of 40. So close.
I have a regular pass, 50 out of 60.
I got an 8 out of 70.
Okay.
Oh, I passed with the 50 out of 60.
Okay. Looks like Xander got the best roll. All right. So you go up to these things, and they're fairly smooth. And kind of, I'd say they're dust-free. Now, it could be that the recent earthquake could have knocked all the dust loose, and the surfaces are fairly vertical. They're not straight up and down. They're a little off on the angle, but they're fairly good. So you're seeing a pretty clear reflection of yourselves in the we'll call them mirrors at this point, because that's what they kind of are acting like. They're not very deep. They only go maybe 3 inches before they merge with the basalt wall, and you can't see anything except the illusion is that you are looking into opposite world, with you guys on the other side, and the room behind you is in the reflection. Xander is the first one to notice something very odd. As he's looking at it, he says, "Wait a second, where are the crystals?" And you notice that when you're looking into the mirror, you can't see the crystals on the floor. They're gone. They're invisible.
I'm going to run my light on the crystals just to make sure that they are getting a lot and seeing if they sort of appear in the background.
Nope.
Are the bones in the reflection?
Are the crystals, like I can pick them up?
Yes.
So I pick up some crystals in my hand and hold them up, as if I hold towards the mirror to see if I can see them in my hand.
Mm-hmm. There's nothing in your hand when you hold them up.
And the bones are reflected?
No, there's no bones. The floor in the reflection seems to be clear.
And there's no bones in, even when they hold them in our hands?
Nothing. Oh, no, you have bones in your hands if you pick them up.
But it's the crystals. They're not appearing.
It's like the reflection inside there is, there's no crystals. In fact, the more you look at it, the more you realize that the room in the reflection isn't as dirty. It's not as weather-beaten. It's almost as if you're looking at a reflection from the past.
Do I look normal in the reflection?
Yes. You look completely normal.
If our boots are on the ground, are our boots in the reflection just floating in air, or if we push our foot into the crystals, does the bottom of the foot disappear?
No, it looks like you're standing on the ground in the reflection.
And does the ground look like rock?
It looks like basalt, like everything else, like the stone of the walls and the ceiling.
Can I'm gonna put my hand out and touch the mirror.
Okay. It's not particularly hot or cold. It's what you'd expect from just a rock. It's hard. It definitely looks like it's made out of the same thing as the blue crystal. It's glassy smooth in this case.
Just to be on the safe side, can I do a geological check on it?
Sure. What do you want to do? Do you want to do like a hardness scale, or
Yeah.
so a Mohs test on a bit of it shows that it's about the hardness of like corundum. So it's very hard. It's almost diamond.
I just want a bit of clarification. Are these things sticking out from the wall and go back 3 inches to the wall? Or then I would like to go to the edge and look at it sideways on at the 3-inch depth.
The illusion sort of ends when you come to the edges of it. You're still seeing your own reflection in whatever angle is there, but it looks like a big chunk of glass, and you can sort of see the basalt deep inside of it, but you can't really see clearly anything else. It's only when you're standing in front of it that it seems to look like this. Now there are 2 others that are like it, and do you go and check those out as well?
Oh yes.
Yeah. They have the same feeling. Now, once again, do a spot hidden for me.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this is like Spot the Difference in the comic books, where they have the same drawing but 3 differences in them.
I got a 15.
This is Spot hidden?
For the 31.
Yeah.
19.
Yeah. I have a regular pass.
Okay.
41 out of 60.
I just passed with a 58 out of 60.
Okay. Well, the next one to notice something is Jeff Gunn, Dr. Jeff Gunn. You notice as you're looking in one of the other mirrors that there seem to be lines drawn on the floor in the reflection, but not behind you.
Can I try to inspect the lines through the reflection?
Well, the only thing that you've ever seen that comes close to the sort of pattern of these lines is what you might see in a mathematician's on his chalkboard if he's figuring out the angles for some particular calculation. They don't look exactly like that, but that's the impression that you sort of get. And these lines seem to be like, it's not like, maybe they're glowing a little bit. There's a luminescence to them maybe. It's not really pronounced, but it's there. That's why you weren't sure you saw them at first. But they're kind of bluish, this color.
Okay.
So what do you guys do?
Do we all eventually get to see these lines?
Yes. If he points them out to you, then you can see them.
Yeah, I point out to you.
Okay, if we step onto them, do they get brighter in the reflection? Like we stand where they are?
No. But you do block them. I mean, when you can see your feet in the reflection.
And did you say there was a 3rd mirror?
Yes.
Okay, I go up to the 3rd mirror.
They all have the same exact quality. You start to notice too, in any of the mirrors, you start to notice that there are definitely markings on the floor.
Okay.
Once you're looking for them, you see them.
Anything on the walls at all?
Well, there's no wall directly behind you. There is the room itself, and pretty much 15 feet away from you, it fades into darkness, going backwards.
And these lights, they feel intentional, right? Like somebody deliberately made them, or they don't look natural.
Do an intelligence roll.
All right. Oh, I failed barely. 67 out of 60.
Okay.
I guess
you just don't know for sure.
I think I'm going to take a long look and perhaps even trace out the lines in the air in front of me as I'm looking at the lines in there. And I think I'm also going to kind of chant lightly under my breath an old Maori song for wisdom from the ancestors, because I have no idea what I'm looking at.
Okay. Interesting. And maybe everybody gets a little creeped out, but nothing in particular happens. So as you guys are looking at these things, you've sort of split yourselves between these three mirrors. You're all looking at them. Everybody do luck rolls. And tell me what the number it is.
65.
38.
37.
Oh,
I got a 50.
I got a 51 out of 50.
So Dr. Yates, you got the worst one?
Yep.
Okay. Now you can see, of course, each other's reflection. And we'll just say that Xander, you and Dr. Yates are in front of one of these mirrors, and you're trying to discern the lines on the floor. And Xander, as you look up, for a moment you think you see something moving behind you in the shadows, in the reflection.
Okay. Hang on. I'm going to do a...
Now, you're not sure that it's just your flashlights making plays with the light, but you think you saw something. All right, what
kind of role would I do to... Because part of me wants to be like, stay real calm and see if I can like try and catch it again, or part of me wants like...
Willpower. So your power, yeah. Do a power roll.
Okay. Okay, I got a 17, so I pass it. So yeah, I managed to contain my seeing it.
Okay. And as you're standing there, you think you see something again moving in the shadows, and it's moving towards Dr. Yates. It's coming up behind Dr. Yates. You still can't see because it's black in the shadows, but it's only about 3 feet high, maybe. What do you...
Okay, I'm going to really quickly turn my camera and take a flash photo to try and spark some light behind me.
Okay. Dr. Yates, as you're looking into this mirror and trying to discern some of the things on the floor, Xander suddenly whirls around and flashes his camera right in your face. You do.
What are you doing?
I saw something. There was something in the mirror behind you. It was something small coming up behind you in the shadows, and I was trying to...
Oh, one of those man-eating parakeets, huh? Yeah, real funny.
No, this thing, it was about 3 foot high. It was a shape, okay?
Now I imagine you guys shine your lights back there. Yeah, and of course, there's nothing there.
Of course, but I am going to continue the shine to the far wall to see if there's any more of these mirrors on the opposing wall.
It doesn't seem so. You do see the entrance that you came in, the entrances that you guys came in. But these seem to be the only 3 mirrors, if you will, against that are in this room. The others, Dr. Maxine and Dr. Gunn and Dr. Green, do spot hidden rolls.
Oh, no. 99.
Well, 48 out of 60.
99, Dr.
Regular.
Gunn.
Yeah, I got 99.
He's drunk.
I got a hard.
All right. Dr. Green, you've got a hard. All right. Dr. Green, as you are looking about and you're looking into the mirror, you also see something shadowy moving because it occasionally blocks the light from the crystals in your room that are sparkling in your vision. But it's in the reflection that you're seeing this this shadow moving, and at the moment it's moving directly towards Dr. Gunn. It seems to be, the shadow doesn't make much sense. It's maybe about 3 feet high, but it's long. It's maybe 7 feet long, and it has multiple legs, maybe, and it's moving towards him stealthily. There's absolutely no sound, but you only see this in the reflection, and you still can't get any details from the thing.
Okay.
Its front end seems to be this long, sort of pointy protrusion.
Dr. Gunn, I'm seeing something behind you now in the reflection. It's blocking, but only in the mirror. It's blocking the reflections on the crystals. But when I look, I don't see it, but I see it in the mirror. Something's up. I don't know what's going on. This whole place just is impossible.
Can I see if I see it? Do I see it?
You don't see anything around you, nothing in the room. You don't feel anything. There's no weird change of temperature.
Dr. Green, I think you need to lie
I know
down.
this place is weird, but come on now. We're past the man-eating parakeets.
You need to lie down, Dr. Green. You need to go for a sleep.
I'm looking.
Hand me that flask.
I'm looking between all the doctors here and listening to this conversation and the descriptions. I'm actually going to back away from the mirrors, perhaps towards one of the entrances, and I am not looking very comfortable at all.
Okay.
Something's really bothering. I'm going to take a point of sanity just on that alone.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a sanity as well.
Yeah, I want to take a point of sanity after.
Right.
Dr. Yates thinks y'all are just messing around still, so he's like, whatever.
Oh, no, I'm taking this. You can see that Dr. Maxine Flambeau is taking this very seriously, and she's not looking around in fear, but she is definitely muttering under her breath something.
Right.
Do any of us notice her backing away at all?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're all feeling a little weird. Now, everything could just be a trick of the flashlights shining on things, but and you keep telling yourself, look, I'm not a baby, I'm not gonna run it, the first shadow that I think is something coming at me. But Dr. Flambeau, you move backwards, and from where you're standing, you can now see all 3 of these mirrors, 1, 2, and 3. The guys are maybe 4 or 5 feet ahead of you. And that's when you see something. You see in the far mirror to your right-hand side, something moves into the mirror and across it. And the only way I could describe it to you is it's about 3 feet long, 3 feet high, sorry. It reminds you, it immediately reminds you of some sort of predatory animal. It has multiple arms and legs, and they all end in horrifically huge silvery claws. The head of the thing, though, is like nothing you've ever seen. It's this long, sort of jagged, pointy thing, and along the sides of its mouth are like needle-like teeth, like something you'd see in a horrible, like an alligator gar or some sort of a seagoing creature. It has no discernible eyes that you can see. The top of its head is kind of smooth, and the whole sort of thing seems to shimmer a little with this bluish sort of light. And you see it distinctly walking across towards where the doctors are standing, and you're seeing it quite clearly.
Sanity roll?
Yeah.
Or yeah.
We'll do a sanity roll. Yeah, I think in this case,
I actually handle that quite well. I got 30 out of 48 now.
okay. Well, I still would like you to do. So you passed. I'd still like you to do a 1d4.
Oh yeah. Oh, 2. No, I'll tell a lie. That's a 1. It's the number that comes to the top. So another 1. Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So you at least gasp. You know.
I will actually utter Kohata Toka, whatever it is, the cursed stone.
Okay.
Aloud in Maori.
Okay. You all hear him say that. Her.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
What did you see?
Well, almost before you can, if you turn towards her, you don't see it. But if you're still looking towards the mirror, it suddenly enters the second mirror coming across. And for those of you facing the mirror, you can choose whether you were facing the mirror or you're facing Dr. Flambeau. But if you were facing the mirror, you can do your sanity roll too. Now you see it clear as day.
Okay.
Oh, I failed.
And I turned back.
I passed. And I take a 1d4. Okay.
Yeah.
Took 3 sanity.
Oof. You're like, dear God, what the hell is that thing? Did anybody fail?
I failed.
Okay. If you fail, do a 1d6.
And how much for a pass?
1d4.
1d4.
I took 4 there.
Okay. And if you were not looking at it, you see, the blood drain out of everybody's face, and they probably all gasp or scream. So you at that point turn around and look.
Yep.
And what you see is this thing move into the mirror, and it suddenly begins moving back and forth, and then it sort of leaps up like this and puts its hands. They're not really here. They're claw-like things, like 7 or 8 of them, up onto the mirror, and it's doing this, and then it drops back down. Then it does. Did you pass your roll? Or?
I did with a 2.
Okay. Ooh. Okay. So a 1d4. You then notice this thing moves back a little bit, and it is going to where your reflection is, and it seems to be sniffing the air where you're standing in the reflection.
Where I'm standing?
Where each of you is. It's like getting its bearings.
In the space, right.
I've
started backing up to where the Dr. Flambeau is. I've started backing away.
Yeah, me too.
Same.
I'm going to start going towards the tunnel I think I came from.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go to the opposing tunnel, the one that went to the door, because I figure that's going to be the quickest way out without a jump. So I am actually backing out of sight of the mirrors and up and out.
I'm going to follow Flambeau.
Absolutely.
So you're all fleeing?
Yep, right.
Oh, I'm not running. I'm looking where I'm going, but I'm going out backwards.
Right.
I'm watching down there because things are ticking over in my head here.
No, to be fair, you wouldn't have known that we went through a doorway.
Well, I would have known which direction you came from, and I know I came from a window that was high off the ground.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just backing. I'm back up, but I'm not taking my eyes off the mirror because that's the only way that we can see the thing. So I'm watching where the thing is as I'm backing away.
Okay. So you're basically carefully backing away.
Yeah.
And I am full on just getting out.
Dr. Yates is just he's scrambling up and over all the crystals and
this is not a parakeet.
All right, those of you who are looking back, the thing, whatever it is, you can see at a certain point it seems to sort of become galvanized. It opens up its mouth in what you can only imagine is a howl that you can't hear anything. It's dead silent. And then it does something very, very strange. You see it take one of its long claws and scratch across the floor where it's standing. And where it scratches on the floor, there is this immediate bright line of blue. It almost looks like molten, but it's blue. And then as you take a few more steps, you see it make another slash and a curve. And then before you get to the door and you go out, it's almost as if the creature dives into the angle that it is created on the floor, and it slips into it like a two-dimensional being going into a line, and it's gone. And I assume at this point
I'm bolting. Yeah,
you need to run for it.
Joining Dr. Yates.
Yeah,
And I've taken out my my 38.
Okay. Just as this happens,
How do you have a gun?
I'm from New Zealand, bro.
just as this happens, there's a tremor in the ground. It's not very strong, maybe a 2.5 or 3 on the Richter scale. But the ground, you feel a visible shaking. So you get to the passage, and you start scrambling up, and you reach the top of the structure, and you can see little bits of the scree that are sliding down here and there on the mountain, and there is visible smoke coming out the top of the volcano. What you gonna do?
I think it's
I'm
time to
trying to run down and dive into the ocean.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
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 All
My
right.
flask is empty as well. I'm sorry.
You said run, so
Yeah, I'm bolting. Yeah.
Yeah,
Somebody's
no,
running.
this is way too weird.
I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm taking myself steadily down there. I'm heading away. I haven't decided if I'm going to go down the rock or through the jungle yet. But
I'm going through the jungle.
I'm going straight down the rock.
Yeah.
you're going down the lava.
I'm going down the jungle part, but I'm running as fast as I can.
Those of you who are running, go ahead and do the dex roll.
I failed with an 80.
I just passed.
Oh no!
Okay.
Actually,
I got a 38 out of 70.
I got
Dr.
a
Yates
90.
failed. So, Dr. Yates, you stumble and fall. Go ahead and do 1d4 damage because you're landing on the bits of
Right.
broken rock, and
3. Ooh, ouch.
I failed as well.
you seriously hurt yourself. Dr. Green, do the same thing.
That was a which one?
Well, 1d. What did I say?
1d4.
1d4.
2.
All right. So you also, you twist your ankle, you scrape up your hands and your arms. The other 3, you guys are going farther down. You've gotten a little bit farther down. Why don't you all do spot hiddens?
oops.
Boy, pass for once. 17.
I got 100.
I got 91.
So
Well, that's nice. I get to play 05 today, which is
I
a
passed
extreme.
24.
I got a crit
Passing in
fail.
this case is not the good thing. As you are scrambling down, and Dr. Yates, as you're trying to get back up again, you look up the side of the volcano, and on the side of that structure thing near the ground, you see a blue line appear.
Well, I wasn't looking the first time. I just to make a sanity roll.
You don't need to at the moment because
Okay.
you're too freaking out and you're already losing sanity.
Yep.
You probably just start scrambling faster.
Yep. Just get it up and going.
Dr. Maxine, you are doing very well moving down the mountainside. Once again, everybody do a dex roll for me.
Ooh, it
I
passed
got 19.
with a hard success.
Okay.
Oh, bloody hell. Another 91.
Oh boy, Dr. Green, you managed to get back up on your feet and take a few steps and go over land right on some sharp rocks. So go ahead and do another 1d4 damage.
4.
Ooh, you really hurt yourself.
Oh,
And
damn. I've got 4 hit points left.
yeah,
What was your max?
you have probably broken your foot. Dr. Yates and Dr. Green, you are behind everybody else. Dr. Green is now behind everyone. And you were horrified to see the line appear. As you're looking up, you now see a curve and another line appear. And as you do, this creature slides out of the angle that it's created. And you now see in full broad daylight this creature, which glistens and it's bioluminescent, and you see it orient itself for a moment and look around, sniff the air if that's what it's doing, and then focus in on your position. It sees Dr. Green lying there first, and it begins bolting down the side of the volcano. And at the same moment that it slips through into our universe, the volcano blows. I want you all to do a listen roll, we'll call it.
Oh, that's definitely a fail. What do I got there?
I got a 92, so fail.
I pass.
Oh, I passed.
Just regular.
I got 100.
So 3 of you failed.
I certainly failed. I've only got a listen of 25. And there's a big bang going off.
So those of you who failed, when the volcano goes off, ba-boom, you've all lost your hearing. The other two, the ba-boom almost knocks you on your feet, but you've got a ringing in your ears. So you're not deaf. The other ones are completely, there's nothing, no sound. Your eardrums were shattered in that moment. You also now notice lava comes bubbling out the top of the volcano. This is a far worse eruption than last time. After only a few moments, and you're all scrambling, anyone looking back will notice that 2 more of these things have slipped out of the crack up above. And the one that slipped out first is heading straight towards Dr. Green. There's not much that Dr. Green can do about it, and the creature leaps into the air and lands on Dr. Green. And perhaps for a moment you hear him moan out in horror as the thing literally just rips him piece by piece apart.
Oh.
The second creature is now barreling down the hill towards Dr. Yates.
No.
The third one is getting its orientation still. The other 3 of you are almost to the path going around the island. And I'll need you to do dexterity rolls again to see if you can yourself.
Wait,
Sorry, Dr.
Regular
Green.
pass.
Word success.
65.
I got a 30.
All right. If you passed, you managed to scramble down to the path. If not, then do a 1d4 damage.
Once I get to the path, because I haven't looked back this whole time, I've just pelted down to the path. Once I hit the path, I then turn around and see the creatures and stuff.
Right.
How far is the one that's going for Dr. Yates at that point?
From you, still probably about, probably almost 100 feet.
Okay, one
He's way
second.
behind you. He fell.
So if I'm gonna take a shot, it's gonna be a difficult shot.
Yeah, almost impossible.
Yeah, okay.
You've also got lava coming down the mountainside too.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna continue running then.
Yeah, Flambeau continued running anyway, didn't stop because he came out and straight down the path.
Okay.
I keep straight down the path.
You try to run. Dr. Yates, despite your best efforts and leaping side to side like a rabbit, the thing that's hunting you seems to be countering every move you can make, and without hesitation it leaps into the air and it lands on you it hits you by the shoulders and pushes you to the ground, face down into the ground, and you suddenly feel its jaws clamp down on the back of your neck, and you're not sure exactly what you're feeling at that moment, but you think that your arms are being pulled out of their sockets, and by then you become unconscious in agony. But that's the end of you. The other one, the third one, is now barreling down the hill, and it's heading towards the three of you, which you've managed. You're still in order. Maxine is first, Kovac is second, Gunn is third. But you've all managed to get onto the path. Which way are you going to run, left or right?
Right, the way we came.
Yeah,
The way we came, yeah.
Way we came.
Since we have that or I certainly have that as a guide that at least it's a path I've traveled before, and I am definitely booking it, but I'm also keeping a mindful of the fact that this may be a fast creature or is covering up. So I'm looking to see if we get a bend and a turn where there's some cover that it cannot see, and I'm considering ducking into the jungle and doing the whole jungle bunny thing and swimming into it.
I'm just following Flambeau.
Okay.
So, just so I've got an idea, we've got like the jungle and the volcano to one side, and then the ocean to the other.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Down the cliff.
Well,
Okay,
yeah.
So
The cliff's maybe 20 or 30 feet away from you, and then it drops down to the ocean.
okay, cool. So yeah, I'm booking it, like full pelting it. Still got my 38 in my hand.
The cliff, by the way, is only, I'd say, about 20 feet high to the ocean down below. Although there's rocks down below. So it's not like diving off of it would be risky. Okay.
Getting eaten by a thing.
All right. Yeah, I'll say that you managed to run along the curve of the path, and the place where you came down onto the path is no longer within view. So you have no idea where the creature is or creatures are, and if they are following you. So everybody do a luck roll. Those of you who are still alive. Those of you who are dead, you can do a luck roll if you
I got a
want.
16.
Well, I failed my luck roll
I got a
horribly,
12.
in case you
I got
care.
a 12.
Yeah, I'm okay. I've got a regular.
All
I
right.
rolled for fun and got a 2.
You come back to life.
Congratulations, Nylepota pitied you. Brought you back.
All right. So your plan then is to dive into the jungle?
No, my plan was to actually keep and look and see if there's an opportunity to go into the jungle. Do I recall, did that thing actually seem like it was smelling the air?
You can't tell. You didn't see like nose slits. It doesn't seem to have eyes. It just seems to be mouth and limbs and horrible big silvery claws. But that's the impression. It gave you the impression like a wolf looking for prey, lifting its nose up into the air, if it's its nose.
Okay. Is there a manky bit of swampland anywhere in this tropical isle?
There's no swamp, but there is jungle. There's jungle to your right hand side.
Yeah,
Volcano going up.
I'm looking to see if there's anything particularly manky looking in there.
Okay, not that you can see. Plus, the volcano lava is now pouring down the sides of the mountain in all directions.
Ah, I keep running.
All directions. Okay.
Yeah,
There's no choice.
I mean, it's not flowing out like that, but there's rivulets going in all directions.
I'm just going
Yeah.
back to the civilization. Just keep
Yep.
going.
Yeah, I'm
That's
heading
all I
towards the boats.
Yeah.
All right.
The plane.
We should have stayed in done arts and crafts.
All right.
There is no plane.
Well, how
It's
did
like
you
a
guys
2.5
do?
hour hike.
How did you guys do on your luck? Actually,
I got
there would be planes, by the way. There's seaplanes in the.
I thought they only came like once a week for supplies.
There is
I
a
got
supply
12.
one that does it, but there are also rich people here. So
Oh, of course, yes, yeah.
Yeah, I got a 12 on that look roll.
okay. Yeah, I think that you guys run like crazy bastards as hard as you can, and you're overjoyed to like come up over a small hillock and look down, and you can see Smith's Landing, maybe half a mile from where you are. You can see it lying there on the ocean. You also notice boats going out. You might notice a couple seaplanes taking off because the whole side of the mountain is coming down. There's lava heading straight towards the thing. At this point, the top of the mountain blasts off in a gigantic plume, and dust and dirt start falling down.
Which, of course, we don't hear.
Right.
I do. I can still
You
hear
do.
it.
You feel it, of course. The ground is shaking. It actually is quite difficult to run at times. But we'll see you manage to get into the town. And what do you want to do now that you're in the town?
Straight out towards the jetty where the boats are going to the planes.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Of course, you
Same
notice
as everybody else.
you notice people all running and scrambling for the boats and
Sticking
everything
with
like that.
Some guy just running with a gun.
Why don't the three of you do a luck roll one more time to see if
Oh, nice.
you're on a boat?
01.
A 4. A 4.
Well, aren't we lucky? I only got
Oh,
a 12, but it's a pass.
Very nice.
Oh.
So you all managed to run out onto the jetty, and there's some rich guy on his yacht, and he's like, "Come on!" He's got 20 or 30 other people getting onto the boat. He says, "Hurry up! Come on, we gotta go!" And you manage to get on the boat, and after a few minutes, the boat pulls away. The volcano's blowing up. People are injured. People are burnt. You can see walls of lava coming down into the town and just obliterating it. And after you get about a mile off the coast, the volcano, the whole island just sort of explodes.
Oh, Krakatoa.
Yeah, kind of like Krakatoa. And the water where you are, rises and falls. So there's a tsunami now heading out from there. And you can't believe that you survived this horror of what you just saw. And you're on the deck, and there's other people on the deck with you. And there's people with blankets over them, and there's children, and there's old people, and there's other people like that. And as you look over, and you're looking kind of at the back of the cabin house, the captain's, where the captain steers the ship, you suddenly see a blue line here on the side of the wall, followed by another line and another line, and then sliding out of the angle comes one of the creatures.
I'm just open fire.
You find that your gun has no use to
I
it.
just jump into the water.
And within a matter of minutes, the creature has pretty much slaughtered you and everybody on board the ship. And that's the end of our story.
Amazing.
Amazing, yes.
That was good.
So, anybody got a guess as to what the creature is?
Parakeets, man. I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
Yeah, the cursed parakeets of Smith Island.
Was it a Tanifa?
What's that?
A Tanifa? It's a
Those hounds of
creature.
They sound like those hounds of
It's the
Sounds
hounds of $10. Exactly. Yeah. According to the story, and I should mention on the show that the actual name is The Intruder Beyond Time.
Yep. That I'm
I
like,
just changed it to Intruders. Basically, when the volcano exploded 3 weeks ago, somehow it caused a rift between time and space. And this structure had actually been from Tindalos and had existed on Earth millions and millions of years ago. And it had eventually been moved by the Tindalosians. But this somehow caused a rift, and it got sucked back to this spot. And the two things were, for a moment at least, coexisting. And when you were looking through the mist mirrors, you were actually looking into the past. You were looking into Tindalos as it was millions of years ago. But once the creatures saw you, and they could see you back through the glass, they started a hunt. And unfortunately, there is no way to stop them once they have got your, they figured out where you are. They will hunt through time and space. This campaign can be played out much longer. It could be that you might have seen the creatures early on, and then you thought maybe you weren't sure if it was real or not, and you ended up doing an archaeological dig, and maybe weeks would go by, and you'd think you're fine, and then the things would.
and then one night on the ceiling. Whoosh.
Yeah, you see a line.
So have you killed everyone and all the others as well?
All of them died.
No one survived.
First night, everybody died there. There was no way they could get away.
Right.
Last night, one person got to the boats, and the same thing happened to them. And I just thought that it's a good ending for.
So we're already winning. 3 of us made it to the boat.
3 of you made
Well,
it.
hey, you can thank my cowardice for that. I would.
Well, all I can say is I was definitely thinking of turning and standing because I don't see the point of dying tired.
I was going to shoot the Frenchman. Like the Frenchman. I was going to be like, I'm just going to outrun her.
It's all the French government. They're in with the parakeets. The parakeets, the government, the boat. They're trying to cover up the parakeets. It all ties back together.
I had drunk an entire flask of whiskey during.
Well, we can talk some more afterwards. Let me go ahead and finish up. Our players included Zane Fleming, Josh Harwood, Morgan Llewellyn, Raymond Offord, and Darren Pollock, with yours truly as the keeper of the secrets. We're trying to produce 4 shows a week with music and sound effects added in post-production in order to create a richer listener experience. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. We do have a new patron. Gunter Seibert has pledged $5 to our channel. Thank you so much.
Ooh, awesome.
Younger.
If you would like to become a patron, visit our Patreon account. Just $1 or $2 a month helps us a lot. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel for updates on our latest shows, and leave us some comments. We love reading them. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.